Hello and welcome to Technique Tuesdays. This is the first in a series of videos I'm going to do that will hopefully be quite long running. Just talking about various aspects of classical guitar technique, focusing on etudes, and then if any of the viewers have questions, then I can start to kind of tailor the videos to those as well. So we're going to start with Brouwer's Etude sampler, which are a set of 20 relatively easy etudes. They each have a very clear technical challenge and a very interesting modern musical style that I enjoy a lot and enjoy working with my students on, particularly ones that come from a more kind of electric guitar, rock background, as that's how I got into classical guitar playing. This first etude that we're going to look at, Etude 1. So as I said, each of the etudes in this set, and most etudes you'll come across, have a very clear technical goal in them. And this one, as you probably heard and can see from the score, is about playing a bass melody against an upper voice accompaniment. So the main challenge here is bringing that melody out over the accompaniment. There's a problem you quite often see in classical guitar students is that the accompaniment tends to overpower the bass. Their thumb's a little bit weaker. So this is a great one in building that core skill of having a strong, good sounding thumb. So the first thing that can help you to really bring this melody out is to make sure that you know the melody. So singing it can help, which I thoroughly recommend. And then also playing it, just the melody without the other parts. This is something I recommend in pretty much anything you play, and I'll talk about it in almost every video, is playing each individual part and really hearing it and feeling it on its own in your fingers. Because quite often we kind of fall into shapes and ideas like that instead of really thinking about the notes. So just take the thumb melody, and what can really help is if you play the accompaniment in your head, playing along with the music. I'm just going to play the first few phrases just so you get an idea. So it goes like this. Okay. And then what you might want to do, just to complement that, is sing the melody in your head and play the accompaniment along with it. So another step in bringing out that bass line, once you really know how it goes, is kind of to do with how we use our thumb. So in normal playing, if I go to the side a little bit, you play with as flat a wrist as you can. If you have big hands like me, you sometimes have to have that there. But what you can do is if you bring your wrist up so that you have a more kind of elongated thumb like this, that can really help you bring out a bass part in almost anything you play. And then by consequence make your finger strokes a little bit like weaker or thinner, which is what we want here. We just want this nice accompanimental. We don't want it to overpower. So bringing your thumb out, you can see I'll play from side on, play like this. So that's really useful in bringing out that bass melody. And then also you can probably see there, with these fingers, I'm using a very, I like to call it the swiping stroke. So I'm not really planting and engaging with the strings to make a really beautiful tone. I'm just doing this to create kind of a thinner, just less present sound. So the other feature of this Etudes that I want to talk about is the dynamics and the phrasing markings. So first with the dynamics, can see in the score we have a lot of contrasts where you play a phrase once loud, second time soft, and then some clearly marked decrescendos and crescendos. So how do we go about doing that? I think we all have a pretty well developed idea of how to create dynamics on the guitar, but might be good, just as this is the first video, to talk a little bit about how I think about doing them. For me, the dynamics all come from weight, so using the weight of my right arm to displace the strings, because as we know, to play lighter we push further in towards the sound hole. We don't grip, which is what you see a lot of people do, because that builds up arm tension. So what we really want to feel is this weight coming from the fulcrum here of where your arm connects with the guitar. So I want to play loud, just push in. If I want to play quiet, no weight. So to play the beginning, first phrase, I'm going to be using more of my weight from this top part of my arm. You don't want to feel it in the bottom part of your arm. And then what I'm going to do is release that weight to play nice and quiet. So there we go. And just pay special attention to where the decrescendos are coming and going. Another interesting thing that I know for sure I didn't do when I first learned this etude was follow the phrase markings. And so if you look at the score, the first phrase actually goes from the first low E all the way to the last low E in measure 3. And then the next phrase doesn't actually begin until the D next to the pianissimo marking. And then that continues on to the next low E. So actually, those low notes, apart from the very first one, are the end of a phrase, not the beginning of a phrase. So the phrases actually begin in the middle of the measure. So what you have to do is sustain the dynamic for that phrase through to that low note, and then change. So it can be quite challenging because you kind of feel like, well, I've done 2 measures, so now it's time to change. So I'll play it again. Hopefully you can hear it in the recording I put at the start of me playing, but I'll do it again just for emphasis. So again, I'll just do the first 2 phrases so you can hear that. There you go, and then you continue that idea throughout. So I think that's the main things I wanted to talk about with this etude. If you guys watch this and have any other questions or things you want answered or problems you have, just leave me a comment or send me a message. If this inspires you to play the piece or gives you some new ideas on how you play it, please, I'd love to see you post a video, reply to this, let me see what you guys are doing, and if you want some tips, I can give you that. Because it's just starting out, please let me know what you would like to see happen in this series, talking about technique. If you have any technical questions, I can definitely take a couple weeks to answer some questions instead of focusing on just on etudes. And I'll post links in the description to my Facebook page, my Twitter, and my website, all those places you can keep up to date. I'll be posting a little blog post about this video that will kind of just put in writing what I'm saying, maybe have a few examples. It'd be great if you go over and check that too. And yeah, look forward to seeing you all again next Tuesday for Etude 2.